Town council meeting Thursday, July 16th, order at 6:03. And we will start with public comments.
That's me.
That was you.
You got a big crowd for that too.
I see that. 2 days ago, they were.
What's your first, introduce yourself, because I don't know your
Sorry.
first name.
I'm Samuel Calhoun. I live at 312 South Main Street, almost 3 years now. A couple days ago, there was some drainage work being done, and my wife texted me on my way home that the house was starting to smell and she could hear something. So I get home and it smells terrible in the house, the entire house. My little 1-year-old girl's walking around like this, with her eyes squinch closed. I thought it was coming out of the sink because that's where she said she smelled it, was from the kitchen. So I immediately turned on hot water, started running it to try to flush anything down, smells wise. Came up, talked to some of the people here, and we were gonna go see what was going on because they had the snake stuck at the time. But by the time we walked outside, they had already got it out and they were headed up this way. So they got the clog done, whatever. I went back home and I smelled down into my sink and didn't really smell a lot coming out. So I started looking. I opened my bathroom door that is on the kitchen, to go in from the kitchen into the bathroom door. And my entire clawfoot tub is brown with horrible smelling stuff. And I do maintenance for a living, but I don't do that part. My guys do that part. I don't have the shots to do that part. So I paid somebody to come clean it, and it was a mess. So needless to say, I don't think anybody really cared that they done it. It was just, oops. Just like the last time I had an oops, when someone was cutting grass, slinging rocks on my car in my house, and I stopped them, and that's basically what they said was oops. When I live on the corner of Main and 4th Street, in that ditch right there with the guardrail, there's nothing towards the ditch. Why are you facing my house and my cars with the outgoing of the lawnmower in the first place? That's not a very bright decision. So it kind of pissed me off that it was a oops, I'm sorry, and then kept going. So I already was not happy with the way things have been done. And then I just get actually the first comment I got when I said that my house smells terrible was free of charge. And that was by this one right here, the same one that was cutting the grass and blowing rocks on my vehicles and didn't care about it. So needless to say, I was not very happy at all with the way that the town has been running things. And I'm here to represent myself as a taxpayer in this town that something needs to change. And any questions or anything that I need to answer? By the way, I paid $300 to have my house deep cleaned so I could actually give my 1-year-old a bath. Because that's the only tub that I have in my house. I have another bathroom, but it's a shower only, and she's just turned 1 in March, so she doesn't get showers quite yet. She needed the tub. All her toys is in the trash, by the way, because everything in that bathroom went straight to the trash can.
Russell, where were you guys I'm assuming it was a jet. Were you jetting something?
Yes, it was actually Kenny and Ron, I wasn't there. But my understanding was they were going along 4th Street to Main. Is what they were, I don't know exactly where.
From east to west between Johnson Street and Main Street. We started at the Ball Diamond, and everything started flowing fine to the south, and then it was flowing fine to the east, so that we'd move on to each manhole. And between Johnson and Main, the jetter just went in about 3 or 4 feet and stopped because there's a major blockage between those 2 points. And finally, the jetter got through, and it started flowing a little bit, but it didn't start flowing a bunch. And then when we were trying to get the jetter back out, it got caught on something, some sort of debris that was in the pipe, and we had a very hard time getting it out. But we did get it out. We didn't even realize this had happened to them.
Was your house the only one that was affected, or?
As far as I know.
Or, yeah,
As far as that, I didn't even know that there was an issue. I hadn't had any issues draining or anything like that, so that had been fine. But I'm the only one I know of that had something back up into their house. But, I mean, everyone in here knows what a clawfoot tub looks like, and it was literally up to the grounds.
Oh my gosh.
So I have pictures of how brown it was and how white it is now. If anyone wants to see it.
Is it just coming up through the pipes? Is that what it made it do that? Jetting that just made it come up?
I honestly don't
I can't, me personally, I can't explain it because it was in a main, his lateral connects to the main on the alley side of it, but.
So so you weren't really even close to his lateral?
Shouldn't have been.
No.
They were going down 4th Street. His lateral comes and goes, I guess it would go west to the alley that runs north-south behind his house. So it would be between Main Street and Johnson, that alley that goes through there.
That's interesting.
Because normally it would be, you would have to be right on the line you were jetting, not on a lateral that's further down.
And there wasn't anything on the wall, so it didn't spray, I don't think. But I also don't think it got 2 foot deep to get all the way to the top of the 12-foot tub.
Right.
So it had to have had some kind of motion with it. I don't think it sprayed, but I don't know. Does anybody want to see the photo of
Sure.
how far it made it up?
Sure, I'm always open for photos.
I don't know how this walk straight through.
That's fair, if you don't mind.
It's gonna turn on you. See, it's all the way up to the very top.
Could you, was there water, did water come with
And by the
it?
time I got back home, it was dry, so I don't know. I'm guessing once they got it unclogged or whatever happened, it just drained out.
But you had not had any issues before?
No, ma'am, not that I have noticed. I haven't had any issues with toilets flushing or anything.
Probably slim enough.
You may have to move it so you can see the edge. Up by where the faucet is where you can really see the darkness up there.
Because there was a major blockage. Probably right there. The house, his neighbor's house right beside him, behind him, to the west. They just had renovated that, and I think one other time there was some construction debris caught in it.
So, and that also joins the north-south alley. It connects on the alley, the neighbor does.
Yeah, all these.
Is there a shower curtain over it or hanging over it?
There is,
So is this here shower curtain and this is shower curtain?
there's actually a shower curtain that goes all the way around.
Okay,
Because it's just their claw foot, so it's not sealed on the wall.
right, okay.
It's got a ring all the way around it.
All right, now I got you.
So where were you, Jim?
We're done here. And
That's what I was thinking here.
going down.
So his ladder was.
Debbie did call me today and talk to me,
Is that?
I don't.
because he came in and was
it's not.
rather irate with Debbie,
It's not on the outside.
the day it happened. And Treva was gone and nobody else was in the office, so she wanted somebody else to know what went on. She did say Russell came up and they left to go look at something and came back. And then Kenny was with them, and him and Russell and Kenny and
He's right here.
Samuel, were talking out in the hallway. And that, she said by her views, everybody wasn't respectful and talked it out. But,
Amy, so you know, I was in the office too.
So I
Okay,
heard, everybody, both sides was respectful for the conversation.
that's good.
But, Debbie couldn't do anything. I believe you asked for a credit on your water bill, and Russell said that he wasn't at liberty to give that out. Treva came back today.
He came in to see me, I requested him to give me a copy of the invoice to be presented, and the council could decide what to do with it.
But I have not seen that. So,
You can get us a copy of that.
I have it in my pocket.
Do.
Be closer to go to. But his neighbor's house goes all the way back to there.
Yeah.
That's why I thought
It makes sense with the neighbors.
the neighbor to.
Is that just a personal cleaning service?
It's one of my restaurants. And she cleans for business and has the stuff, so that's who she asked. That was the only one we could get to come day of, because that house was terrible, and we were trying to open vents up and windows up, but it was 95 degrees, and my air conditioner had to stop off without the windows open.
okay. Dave, what do you think? Like, jetting wise and
It can happen.
location that way?
Well, I'm trying to pull up your utility map now. It doesn't show laterals, but there is an alley north-south, or there is a line in the alley that runs from north to south to 4th Street. And then the line that they were working in, it runs from west to east towards Main Street. Being that he's the first house, his lateral's not gonna be very many feet up the alley lateral. So if there's enough of a blockage, and they had a long time working on it, and water's flowing that whole time, water's gonna try to find its way out, and his tub drain may have been the first place where.
It is underneath the house, it's up the first thing in the level. And then the toilet that's next to it.
So do you have any thoughts on it?
I mean, the proximity of his house to where the work was being done suggests that one caused the other.
Thoughts?
I can see how that would happen.
And I don't know if we have the funds just to pay him the money rather than maybe a credit for 2 months or something like that.
We can't do a credit on the water bill, this
Oh, we
doesn't.
can't, oh, okay. Okay,
So
so
what are our options?
We would just have to
pay
pay
it
it
out
out
of something.
of
First house.
wastewater other.
Okay. So we need a motion.
That's the.
I'll make a motion to reimburse him for the cleaning.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is that fine with
All
you
those
and
that- yeah.
settled and everything?
Amy, if you don't mind, one of the other things too, because the first thing you brought up was the mowing. That'll be something we talk about in our next AP meeting.
That
There
That
was
was
last year.
last year, it's done been dealt with, and
Right.
actually was proven to not be valid,
Proven to not be valid.
yes. Upon that,
Yep.
Okay,
that all happened last year.
I had photos of all the grass strode all the way across the road, and I showed that, and it's proven to be invalid.
Sir, that was over a year ago,
I understand that, but you're calling me a liar right now, is what I'm saying.
I just know what the decision was at the time.
So, all right, we'll move on. Tim Kirkhoff. You're next. You're up.
Thanks for coming in.
I can leave.
Yep, you can leave.
Thank you.
So how do I go
Thank you.
about my reimbursement? How does that happen? I don't know. I've never-
She'll write you a check.
She'll send you a check.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
You ready? Sure. Okay. We had a meeting last.
What, hang on one second.
I'm sorry, I wanted to move Russell up so he doesn't have to stay, but I wanted him to talk about this coordinator.
Sorry.
Can we move him up?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Here's
Show and
your,
tell.
here's show and tell. Come show and tell. Okay, so, first I'll start with, we have not inspected our meter pits or, any of that for over 5 years. So Aaron has been tagged with going around and inspecting all of our meter pits. He's cleaning them off, he's making sure the locations are right in the census, and he's documenting things that need fixed. So, upon that, we are finding lots of pucks. Russell can show you what a puck is.
Well, I think everybody that lives in town is familiar with the puck on your water meter
Okay.
that hits. I tell you, if I had to guess, how many water meters do we have in town?
574.
I would bet there's at least 100 of them that are broken. So what happens is, this is the transmitter that sends the signal to the water tower. The puck sits over at the transmitters there at the top. And once the puck gets broken off, then this transmitter is exposed. If you look at this one, the plastic is wore off, where the lawnmower blade gnawed it off. And that's a circuit board. It's actually the antenna that's sticking up there, the green piece. Then when it rains, they get full of water. And when they get full of water, they quit working. And they are 100 and,
So the transmitter is 185 a piece, and the puck is $35.39 a piece.
$35.
Yeah, $35.39 for each puck and $185 for the transmitter.
So yes, it makes more sense to purchase the pucks than these.
well, the thing is that we've put them on and they won't mow them off the next day.
And
You
so
know, it's,
we have an ordinance that we send out, so we find them, we send out the letter because we inspect. That's my keyword here, because we've inspected. Then we send out a letter, this is your warning, do it again, we'll bill you the second time. Because they've not been inspected for over 5 years, people's moved in and out, we can't determine at this point if it's a current person, a last person, or whatever. So we've got to get things brought back up to a good state.
For that to be applicable.
And then when one's damaged, because they're gonna do routine inspections now, then we can say, yes, it was inspected here, it worked, now it's inspected here, you've mowed it off, here's your warning letter. And then we can start charging people for what they, but I just feel with 5 years and we don't know people's, yeah, I just don't feel, we can be sending the letters out right now until we have our base again.
So when you're doing the inspection, this thing isn't what's broken, right? Sometimes they are,
they catch those because the
because
meter.
Betsy or whoever,
Right,
Debbie
Debbie usually
and Dee,
catches that
whoever
the
will catch.
meter's not transmitting and she's not getting the signal from it.
Okay.
Yeah, the puck can be broke and that'll still be fine.
Okay,
And actually, the
Just-
puck can be broken, this can still be fine until it gets too wet.
Well,
And
because the
finds
top of it's open and it
Yeah.
lets, yeah, it'll still work until rainwater gets in it. But I asked if they made a better puck that was maybe metal or something, that's all they did. A possibility of another thing is that the pucks are, I don't know how long, 2014, I think, when they were all.
They started getting installed in 2013 into 2014.
So plastic sitting in the sun, baking, cooking, it gets hard and brittle. And so they're not real hard to break.
Is that what's sitting on top of the meter is?
Yeah,
Okay, because mine is low.
Okay.
so we have a few throughout town that we can't put the puck on the top. And so we have them down inside the meter. And they transmit just fine.
Without having a puck on top.
And they're in the meter.
They're in the meter pit.
The lid doesn't give any signal interference.
Wow,
That's
that's
too.
nice.
So we don't know, obviously, until we test it, if that's a solution, and we just don't do pucks, we just move the transmitter down inside. But if we do have interference, because I mean, this one may be closer to the tower than that, you know what I'm saying? But if we could get a lot of these down and don't have to worry about this getting shaved off, that getting shaved off, I think that's the best approach. But I don't know, we just thought we probably should have this conversation because we're out of pucks,
We're out of transmitters.
we're out of transmitters, and we only have a few pucks left, because Aaron said
We've
it's-
got to have those. We're not just going out replacing ones we see that are broke. We're just replacing the ones that are really broke that it's done that. Because if we went out and replaced all of them we seen, we need,
But we're
we
gonna
need
have
to
to
start with
get them,
100, I would say.
but we're gonna have to get them back. If we're gonna send letters to people, we've gotta get them all in a good order first. So then we do need to do that.
Right.
But if we can put them down and test them and not put one puck on them in a hole. So we thought we'd talk about that and then decide how many pucks and how many transmitters that we need to order since they're expensive. So
Yeah.
I just wanted, I was gonna do that, but since he was here, you can explain that.
So can I ask a couple questions? that might
Yes,
help
sir.
The council make a decision here. You said 2013, is that when all of the meters were replaced? Okay. And then it sounds like there had been some regular inspection on them, but there hasn't been for the past 5 years or so.
So my answer to that would be, we know for sure no inspections have happened in over 5 years. Prior to that, we were arguing that they needed to do routine maintenance, and they thought that we should make the residents start cleaning around and keeping their grass off and all. And like, it's still our stuff. We still need to ensure our stuff is correct, and then, so maybe a few, but overall, no, I would say there's been no inspections or anything,
Because
probably since 2000.
we don't read the water meters every month like they used to. So they used to have to go to every meter, take the lid off, read the numbers. Well, now you don't do that. So they just, and if nobody ever goes to it, some of them, Aaron spent a lot of time because he can't find it.
Mhm. Some of them have been.
They're
thrown over
grassed
and-
over and, you know, you can't find them. And it digs them out. And so, yeah, that's part of it. It'd be nice if everybody would keep their meter lid cleaned off and know where they are, but
And do we know if there's been any like select meter calibration over the years either since their installation? That'd be a more, are they reading accurately thing, not a, are they transmitting question?
That's a great
That
question.
would be a, no.
That's a great question.
Some of them even are in like a gravel driveway and they're covered over.
and some of them are in people's driveways.
It's just,
There's one on the sidewalk.
There's one of those, there's some on the sidewalks, yes.
Oh my gosh.
They're in some mysterious places.
But even if you expected people to clear them off, we don't know if they do unless there's an inspection, which is why we thought there should be an inspection when we first got this system, because we still have to know what our utility is and if everything's right. So, and if they don't clear the grass, we ain't gonna know that unless we're out there doing inspections. And then these guys who've not been here now can't even find them. It has been a huge,
We call Tom Tinson because Tom used to read.
Right.
He can just about put you right on.
Right.
But
Is that,
Tom's not always there when in the middle of the night if you need to find the meter and turn it off.
are you able to put notes on silver cement when you
Yes,
do find
Aaron has been
it?
taking pictures of them and put notes in there and he sets a cone up by it, he takes a picture and
Hey Russell, did you find mine the other day?
yes. And see, just like yours, it's under a vine tree.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, of course, the meter pit was there when I moved there, well, I planted this cute little evergreen tree. Well, now,
Evergreen tree's
it's underneath the
Yeah.
evergreen tree.
So you're gonna make poor Aaron go all the way underneath your pine tree.
I bet it's bugs on crack.
Nope. And then you throw it over.
Yeah.
So how much more life is left of the transmitters? I mean, are we going to do a whole town replacement eventually? I mean,
10 years is usually about the expectation on the meter.
So we're there.
so our meters was warranted for the first 10 years, 100%. And then the next 10 years, certain things were warranted at a 90, 80,
It was
70, 60.
Because we've sent several meters in and they've prorated. Because we've had some that read weird, read backwards, do all kinds of weird stuff. And they will prorate it. So it's just like a battery in your car or something. After farther out it gets, the less they pay on it. But I don't think the transmitters are like that.
So
we need to have a few on hand in case
the,
everything.
Are you going with the newer ones, maybe? If you,
there are
or just,
No, that is
or
probably
the
like
ones
in,
that fit underneath the.
it's probably like any electronic. You get one system, you have to go with one thing that, you know.
So, to answer your question, we, our census, our actual tower read system is now, going a different route as well. And I've been talking with them and another firm, because that's the next thing. They're gonna say, your read system won't read no more. We're stuck buying this meter, because that's the only meter that works with the read system.
Oh my gosh.
And so, when you talk, and if it's time to replace the meters, the read system and everything, you're talking pretty much $500,000.
Oh my gosh.
Uh-huh. And that did just happen in another town. That their meter system, their meters that they had working with their system, you can't even purchase the meter anymore, and there's no additional meter taking its place. And their system was not the same as ours, but they were also installed in 2013. So it does happen. It probably will happen to us. That's the problem with these new fangled auto read. It gives you a lot of great information. The old way, it really was bad for the employees for not finding leaks and that kind of stuff. This is a very hefty price tag system, because this is just the transmitter.
Yeah, the meters
The
are
meters
close
are
to
in
the
the,
same price.
yeah, the meter is 200. Yeah. So you're talking.
Yeah, two pieces and then there's, the cord that goes between them is $25.
So what happens to the ones that aren't transmitting? Do you have to go, can you still manually go read them?
Yes, you can manually read it.
So that's why, so if they can figure out how to nicely put them down below but close to the lid, I think we should order, my opinion is we order, a dozen transmitters because we have none. So if they are getting, we have to have some.
Well, and we've installed several too, new ones. You know, we put one at Briar Park, it's a new setup. We put one at the, Town Park last year for the pickleball court is on one. And we're getting ready to put, there'll be one to go to the new house on Meadow Street. I mean, some of them are new installs too, so.
Adam's houses.
Adam Kiefer's houses, yeah, we've put in 4 or 5 down through there for him.
So I would say we order a dozen of these and maybe
Did the
22
pucks come individually?
yes, so two, like maybe 24 pucks. We start, when a puck needs to be replaced, let's get them down underneath and see if we can avoid not putting a puck. And if it doesn't transmit, we'll have a puck to put the puck on if we have to go back. But not having, because we knew there was a lot in the system, and you do get a break when you order 100. The pucks, instead of 35.39, go down to 31.62.
Ooh, that's a big rebate.
Yeah. So there's a plastic nut that screws on the bottom of that secures it to the lid. How much is the nut? $7?
The nut is $7.69.
Oh my God, because you know, they can't just have such.
No, you can't just
Sit
send it
outside.
with the nut. No.
What are you gonna do to cover the hole?
That was my question, but they sell blank pucks.
I'm thinking like get some metal big washers.
Can you just buy a 3D printer?
It's a 2-inch.
3D printers are like $3,000.
What's that bigger?
And that's used.
I wonder if school could 3D print something.
I figured that one out, Nick.
Okay.
Like Bennett Central 3D print something. That's probably.
I was following. So, anyway, I wanted you to be aware, we are on that project, we are trying to get them. I wanted to make sure you guys agree that until we bring things back up, since they've not been inspected forever, that's not fair to a resident until we have them a good puck. Now it's good.
Right.
Mess it up, you're paying for it.
So these pucks that you can't find in tall grasses, I mean, are they on people's lots where the grass is supposed to be mowed, or where are they at?
They're everywhere.
So not even on their lot, or just
They
hidden?
should be on your property.
That's what I'm
The
thinking.
majority of them are on your property.
Okay, their grass should be mowed though too.
Well, and the grass may be mowed, but the grass just
The
creeps
grass has
over.
moved, has covered it.
Okay.
I mean, we found one over here on Meadow Street that I told Tom, I said, it's not there. He said, it is there, and I'll find it for you. It was that far under the dirt.
Oh my gosh.
I was amazed that it's still transmitted.
I was thinking, sure.
I think it takes a couple inches down in my front lawn, so.
So people don't even know where they are.
Yeah, some people don't even know they got it.
But Jackie, you brought up a good question, and yes, most people's are on, their property. We did have one on Kirkhoff that got mowed off way back. We sent them a letter, told them that if it got mowed on again, they were gonna get a bill. That person came up and said, it is my meter, I don't mow the grass because it's on my neighbor's property and he mows the grass.
Oh, shoot.
And so we would have some weird ones of that, and how do you handle those? I don't know. Our neighbors is in our yard. So there are a few.
We have some that are double pits. There's 2 meters in a pit. So it goes to this house and it goes to this house, and it's down this guy's yard.
So now somebody mows it off.
Oh, my.
But they also make a transmitter that's a double transmitter. It can read 2 meters. So if you have 2 meters in a pit, it only has 1 transmitter. That transmitter can send the signal for both meters.
But it's more than that.
It's a lot of money.
Probably double.
I think I have 3 of the double transmitters that we have in stock.
My.
So, that's the story. I think that's our, kind of our game plan, to see if it'll work to not have them sticking up above. So I need permission to order, if you so choose, 12 transmitters and 24 pucks. That'll give us a good stock, right?
Yeah.
Too bad they don't sell them in a box of like 12, right? So Linda,
They checked
It's
it.
my understanding that the transmitters, they have batteries in them, and that's why they only last so long. I took one apart, it's about like a D-cell battery, and my understanding is until we activate them, they're like in the sleep mode, so they're not sitting there running while we have them in stock.
Oh,
That
okay.
makes sense.
Okay. That's good.
Same with the meters, because I asked you about that, I'm like, I don't want to buy a bunch that's set here for a year before I use it, that's a year of its battery life.
All right.
But they say that it's, once you activate it, then it really turns on and starts doing what it's supposed to do.
so Linda, you made the motion.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
The other thing I can take care of, it was Russell's request, is mosquito spray for the fog, for the spraying machine. Ron is doing a great job. You doing it once or twice a week right now? Twice a week?
Yes, thank you,
I'm
Ron.
like, I hear him drive by every once in a while.
And when you fill the tank, how many gallons go in there?
The tank holds 15 gallons on the truck. Probably is 1.5, 2 gallons a night, I'm gonna guess.
Yeah.
So we had 2 partial barrels that we started with last year that have been here for a long time because. And so we have emptied 1 barrel, which both these barrels work full. 1 barrel's gone and the other barrel probably has, we're thinking we got enough to make it the rest of this year probably.
That's good.
But just to get you ready for a new barrel,
Or if they run out.
Or if we run
they have
out.
enough.
so you can buy this stuff 2 different ways. You can buy a case of 5 1-gallon jugs, or you can buy a 55-gallon drum.
So,
Holy cow.
5 gallon. 5 gallon is $310.96. And a 55 gallon drum,
Hold on to your pants.
$3,027. So our equipment comes from a place called Mugabug. And then Mugabug also does an annual inspection certification thing. And then we use their material because it's where we got the machine and stuff. So, is there other places? We don't know. We don't even for sure what they send us, what it's called.
It's blood spray.
But that's what it is. So I didn't know, and obviously things are just gonna go up in price. So I didn't know if we wanted to put it in the budget for next year, or if we wanted to order 5 gallons, or if we wanted to just get another 55 gallon drum. And
See how long it lasts.
if we run out this year, we have some to start, and we surely would get through next year with that.
Too bad they just, they don't have
Should
a
get
water
through, like-
spray. You can just.
3 years?
A drum auto lasts at least, a couple, 2 years in.
2 years
At
easily.
least, yeah. Yep, just depends on shelf life. The shelf life is, we would use it up before it's bad.
Yeah.
But I don't know, if you do the math, it's a barrel's cheaper than buying 5 gallons at a time, but.
Do we have a place to store said?
Yep.
It's,
Oh, yeah.
okay,
And storing 2 of them.
Yeah, we just emptied one.
And I think it's really working.
it is.
I had a car chase me down last night and I thought, oh boy, this ought to be good. And he says, is that a mosquito sprayer by chance? And I said, yes. He says, oh, thank God. He says, that is wonderful. Glad you're spraying.
No, I think it's hell.
So, and I think that that's the key. Before we were like, well, and there is truth in it. We can't when it's windy and you can't with it, which there is truth in all of that, but then it just was never happening. Like, there were years we didn't spray it all. Lawn hitting it twice a week we have not had calls in the office at all this year like we have in the past, so it really is.
So I monitor the weather and monitor the wind, so it's nice and calm.
That's hard to do, I bet, Charlie.
It is.
Thank God, half the times it did good.
Uh-huh.
But I think it was Wednesday night spray. Wednesday or Thursday, one of those.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. And the spray just came out and just stayed there.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can see it in the street
And
lights.
just
Oh, yeah.
gradually going out and up.
Yeah.
So what do y'all think?
I hate to say it, but I think that
55
55
gallons.
gallon,
Yes.
it's gonna be the better,
And we don't have enough to finish off this year.
We might.
we might,
Because that was only 5 gallons for $300.
right?
I personally would like to understand a little bit more about what we're spraying.
Okay,
I mean, the chemical itself, the environment, what is that doing to our environment? What does that do to us? Because I know nothing about it, right? So personally, before I were to vote on something, I would like to know a little more about it and then what maybe options are. Because if it's something that is carcinogenic, we obviously don't want to be spraying it.
so I can tell you, I don't know what the chemical is, but I can tell you that many years ago, we actually have to have a licensed applicator. So we had to send our guys to be licensed to spray. And the stuff that's in our barrels now, they don't sell anymore. And now, we don't have to have a licensed operator because they've made it a much more environmental friendly. But to your point, you still should know.
I think,
absolutely.
I think the whole, yes, and all that stuff.
I would like to see that.
So we can
I mean,
table
we-
it until we get more.
Yeah, I mean, we're not in a dire need to get it right now,
No.
right? So,
We can table it till we get more information and it can be put back on the agenda when we got the information.
You used to have to know like the 4 or 5 or 7 different kinds of mosquitoes and all that. And we're just trying to kill them.
Well, they explained it to me, they changed it, if you're doing it for hire. Like if the Otterman hired Joe Contractor to come in here and spray, he would have to have a license, but since you're doing it for yourself, you don't. That's kind of the way I understood what they told us.
But yeah, we used to have to send the guys every year to get recertified to spray it.
So we don't have to do that anymore. So that's good. Okay, then I will
Table it and.
Yep.
We'll keep the rest.
I did. Kids right behind it and juiced it. I mean, we're still okay, so. Most of us.
my dad was driving it at one point.
Yeah.
Where he worked on it, I don't remember which, but I remember getting behind it, running behind it.
Yeah, right.
That was like fogs.
Yeah.
The old fogger.
Okay,
No,
Russell, you may
She's dismissing you.
No, he just had things he needed to go do,
Yeah.
like, he had other commitments, so I
He
was
did.
like, let's get him out the door.
All right. So now are we ready for Tim? Yep. Tim, we're ready for you this time. Sorry.
As you may recall, about 8 weeks ago, we made a submittal to extend part of phase 2, where we added more concrete, a hexagon building that would be a builder building. And time has passed and we've talked and it's just been very difficult to get the final approval on some of these things. I have 6 topics that I'm looking to finalize if we can. We did meet with Amy and Tim last week, I think it was, and move forward in a very good direction. And so of the 6 topics, I'll be brief. I think I gave them to Amy. I don't know if she shared them with you or not, but
I did not.
the concrete bid, we're looking for approval on that. I did get 3 bids, and I felt that Neil Gick would be the best for that. We also gave you the COI, which is a certificate of insurance, and the W9 or the W4. I don't know. It's a go. So we got that. I would like to see us move forward with the approval of the concrete bid. And it's also bid in a square foot fashion. Right now, I think it's about 25,000, somewhere around 25,300. But if there's more square foot, it's obviously more. If it's less square foot, it's less. So that's the very first thing. Do we
Can
just
we
do all
address, well,
6?
let's address that first. Well, Tim, did you have any questions? Well, you looked, I gave you the bids to look at.
Yeah, I looked at all 3 of the bids, this is Tim, obviously, and, I guess the first thing I'm gonna address is because after our meeting last Thursday, we changed the location of the hexagon building, which is changing some of the project, which would add a little bit more to the project as far as concrete, because we're moving it to west of the pavilion that's there existing. The 3 quotes that we do have, there are some questions with the 3 quotes, and I'm just gonna run through them in order of lowest price to most expensive price. The lowest was Premier Services, which I believe he lives here in town. But the questions that we have, because a couple of things he says is he's estimated 65 yards, he's estimated 40 sheets of mesh. He did include a vapor barrier provided by the park, but my question is who's installing it? The price does not include any pump charges, so is it gonna be a pump truck, is it gonna be a buggy, how's he gonna get the concrete in, which is gonna change this price. It doesn't have anything, or it says does not include the grading the dirt after the project is over. Who's gonna seed, sod, bring topsoil in, winterization. And this is gonna be for all 3, because we're doing what we're doing, we have to, and we need to include this on these guys' bids, we have to connect the playground area that we're taking the sidewalks by to make them ADA compliant, which is going to be not part of their project, expense-wise, but it's gotta be something that we have to do, and we would like them to add that to the project, because there's no sense of bringing another company in, because that's gonna be more expensive than using the guys that are already here. So, but anyways, the first price from Premier was 18,000. The next price was, and I'm just gonna go by the name, New Age Construction. Their price was $24,150. They've included, they have a lot more that they've listed out in here, but, the couple things that we have to address is they don't have a cost in there for the pumping or the buggy. The stone is gonna be provided by the town. The first one said the same thing. They are including control joints in theirs, which is recommended. And again, they've estimated the square footage of concrete. So we're adding from my perspective, we're adding more concrete because of the way we're doing this. So we're gonna be, his number's gonna be a little bit under, and then obviously adding the 88. The last one was Winco, which is just down the road, they were 30,866. They say in their quote that they are including all equipment. My question is, are they including, is the buggy or the pumper truck including in that price? They've not said anything about control joints. They did not say anything about the vapor barrier. They did say they're excluding the seeding, the sod, and the topsoil after the pour and winterization. So, and then again, we need to make sure that we want them to give us a line item in their quotes that tells us what the quote is going to be, the portion that we would have to pay as a town. So with that being said, you know, understanding, and I'm Judd may correct me on this, but because it is a government project, first of all, we're not apples to apples on everything. We really need apples to apples, but according to state statute, we have to go low bid.
Go a little bit unless that bidder is not responsive or responsible. It's like on the library, when they built the library, the low bidder was a low bid by like $2,000, and he had like a pending contract dispute on another project that was in Tippecanoe County Court. And it didn't look like he was gonna win because he cut a lot of corners during the construction and he got sued. And so we disqualified him, his bid for that reason. He did not seem like he was responsible. He was responsive in the sense he met the bid specs, but he wasn't responsible in the sense that it looked like he delivered on what he promised other people. So like that. That's an example. So you're not required to take the low bid, you're required to take the lowest responsible and unresponsive bidder.
Which would be, currently would be Premier, right?
Right. And they're, again, they were at 18,000. But again, there was some.
But we're not, we're still not,
estimated.
we're still not apples to apples on everything.
So, you know, the question is, you know, because we want, because they're doing so much and we appreciate all the things that they're doing. I also have to be the devil's advocate that we have to follow procedure.
Right.
And sometimes it's gonna take longer because, you know, we're on the private sector. And it's a lot easier for us to make decisions and move forward. You're on the public sector and we have to follow your guidelines. And
So would we have to get a separate bid then for the topsoil and the grass and the winter and all of that stuff then, or that we don't
I
know if
don't
that's
think you
included in
do.
it?
We're gonna take care of the topsoil, we're gonna take care of the grass. You don't need a bid because we're taking care of it, it's part of our thing.
So you're going down
So,
to
I don't know, and then the truck getting back there, it's gonna go right over the top of the sidewalk, the new sidewalk.
Okay.
Even if it makes a depression, as soon as they get done, we're ready to start working on the sidewalk, pouring it, getting it compacted with stone. And so right after that, the dirt is down there, we got it free and had it brought to the park. So we're ready to keep moving and just keep going on it and finish it completely. Now, as far as tying into these playground areas, I have nothing for that. I have no bids, I don't have anything for that. So that I don't have. But the rest of it, they didn't put it in bid because they never asked them to put it in bid.
Right.
Yeah, we
And
didn't
they
ask
didn't
them
need
for
to
that.
put it in bid because it's part of what we're taking care of, is volunteer help. And we got guys that are landscapers, that got landscaping machines, so they're gonna do it for us.
we were assuming that, but it was a big assumption on our part that they were gonna be taking care of the topsoil and the reseeding and whatever. But again, it was, you know, when one of them spells it out that they're excluding it,
Right.
and the other aren't, you know, maybe they were including it in theirs, but it doesn't say, so.
But one thing I would mention is that we probably would not do grass seed until September because in August isn't gonna be much, I don't think it'll be poured, I think, in August, but we wanna wait till it's the best to plant grass seed so it grows, we don't have to plant it again. I mean, it's usually typical in September.
Can you explain to them excuse me, guys,
Nope.
the difference, between, and I'm gonna call my name, Jeremy Davis's bid and Neil Gick's bid, why the difference in the price? Because Jeremy,
They're both 5-inch concrete. They both had about the same square footage. He's using some, I gotta think about this.
Wires.
He's using some wire, whereas Neil Gick is using fiber mesh. And he's using, I don't know, 4,000 PSI, is that something like 6.5 bag cement? He might not specify that, but, I think they're both doing that. So this concrete is has more concrete in it. Other than that, he just hired. I mean, Neil works by himself. And from what I've seen, the job that he's done has been spectacular, but he just, he has guys that help him, when he pours the concrete, but he does all the forming himself and this, and I think that the other thing I think you'll also find, I think Neil gave up money, because he just, if you look back over the years, Dicks have always contributed money to the town when they do things, and I think I asked him, do whatever you can, and I was surprised the bid was what it was.
So which one of these is new?
Neil was 24,150.
That's a new age, okay.
Yeah, new age.
because he's,
So, but Jeremy is
understood
still too.
him correctly.
Jeremy's.
Jeremy's premier.
Oh, he is a little bit.
No, Premier's a little bit.
Jeremy,
Who is?
Premier.
New Age has 200 more square foot, which
Prairie
puts it at,
Service is the low bid.
you know, like
No, you got the wrong.
So I mean, they're still higher, and if you subtract out the
That's what I have.
Oh,
200.
yeah,
That's
there's
Jeremy
no
Davis.
concrete in that. That's just labor.
It says 65 yards.
Yeah, but he's not furnishing the concrete. I wondered the same thing when I did it. I said, I thought, boy, 18,000, that's cheap. And then when I called him, he said, no, you're furnishing I'm sorry, you're furnishing you're furnishing everything. I think the only thing he has in there is I think we had to furnish the wire.
Oh, he's just doing labor.
Yes, I'm sorry, he didn't explain it in there. That's why I
That
called
would be
him.
a question we'd have.
I mean, that's why I need apples to apples on those, so to see,
When I talked to him on the phone, he said it'd be around $30,000 to $32,000 if you include the concrete and this type of thing. And the reason I didn't include the concrete, or the reason he didn't include the concrete, was that he thought that we could buy the concrete and save the sales tax. That was the whole deal. But he didn't include it in his bid. I should have had him redo his bid.
he's probably gonna have to have it redone.
At this point, from my perspective, I see this as 65 yards of concrete. It doesn't say labor, it just says estimated concrete 65
So
yards.
we need
So
to
plus,
double.
there would be plus labor.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But
We need
the way you wrote it,
Yeah, the way
the way you
you
wrote it,
reading it.
18,000 includes the concrete,
Yes.
which means he'd be losing a lot of money.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And at that point, he would say,
Yeah.
I thought you were supplying the concrete, I'm just doing the labor. He would pull his bid, but at this point,
So they need to be, those two, at least those two
Those
need
two.
to be,
Exactly what they're gonna do, including everything.
Do we need to,
And the
This is
town
scope
didn't
of work,
know
we
how
can-
much rock they had around.
You're
I'm sorry.
wanting me to call Jeremy Davis to get a new quote that includes the concrete, and he already knows he's not gonna do the job. That's what you want me to do. And the reason he did it, because I assumed, I knew, but that's my fault. So blame me on the thing. Can we just verify it somehow,
I don't know the,
that it's not included?
I don't know the procedure of how to do that with a quote.
You know, I
Legally.
didn't.
You could ask him for clarification. Estimated concrete, whether that was.
I mean, you got questions about what he's even agreed to do, just because he's told you things that aren't in that document.
right,
But he won't furnish concrete.
I don't, whether he is or he isn't, I mean,
It might-
it's-
Well, that's why I called and asked, because the number came in as it is, I said, what's all included? And he told me. So I just basically just started, what I should have done is, but whatever.
so, I don't know what he was asked to offer, but that may be an example of not a responsive bid. Maybe responsible, he may not be responsive, because I don't know if he provided what he was asked to provide.
Well, who
Jeremy
requested the quote? We did not request the quote, right?
Tim,
Tim, you requested the quote, right? So but we have to determine whether or not we go forward with it.
You gotta use your
Right.
procedures.
So I think there needs to be an adjustment to the scope of work given to them so that they all bid on the same thing, the same
Correct.
scope of work.
correct.
I hate to push it off, but I think that's the best way for us to make that, the right decision.
If
So,
I can get you something, as long as I can get you something that shows that he's higher than the other guy.
I think there's,
You
Tim,
know what you need?
I mean, there's questions from all three quotes, right? That they're not apples to apples. You got apples, oranges, and cherries,
Right.
right? So I think they all need to be the same for us to make the right decision. So I think they all need to, if they want all requoted again, I think we need to make sure they have a good, solid scope of work that they're supposed to be bidding to, so they have everything needed.
So let me ask this question, because, you know, again, I have to look at this from both sides. If I were to put a scope of work together myself tonight, no cost to the town for my time for this, get these to those guys, can you have a special meeting so he can move forward faster?
Well,
We can't move forward
funds.
anyway. We don't have the funds.
we have not gotten a release of funds from the Benton Community Foundation,
we can't-
and we don't have the money to pay for it without the funds from the Benton Community Foundation.
And that was the matching grant
Yes,
situation.
and they haven't, the Benton Community Foundation has not released the funds,
They have funds.
but they haven't released
I
it
don't,
to
and the
us.
reason they haven't released it is because your town clerk said, I don't want them until the match is made.
That is not true.
But that's what she told me.
That is not true.
If you want the money to be here by Friday and you'll have
Tomorrow.
$50,000. If that's what you need to make it.
All I know is that they've called and said they can't release it until they have the matched funds. When they have everything, they would release it and they would bring us the check.
That's not true.
That's what we were told.
We were told
Yeah.
today.
That's what we
Okay,
were
and I
told from the,
understand, but that's not true, because last year they released money and the match was not made.
that's what she told us this year. That's what she told,
It's okay. The match is being made anyway, so it's just. a
Well,
matter
it
of-
does matter because you're saying that I said something I did not say.
That's what they told me.
Well, they told me when Andrea called me after she
It wasn't
got your,
Angela, it was Tamara.
well, I've never talked to Tamara. I have never talked to
Really?
Tamara about this project. I
Okay.
have talked to Andrea.
I guess the problem here is what do I need to do? I can't get the one bid from Winco. He won't even bid it. Getting bids is an impossible situation. People are busy, they don't want to give bids. When Jeremy gave me the numbers, I went through the numbers with him and I asked him about the concrete, he said it's not included. That's not included, this is not included.
that
I
we
should have
had,
had him redo the bid, I guess, I didn't realize that was gonna, I didn't even think about it. Honestly, I did, because I knew the number was a lot higher. Now, I can ask Jeremy if he would do something for me to get Winco,
They're probably too busy.
that's impossible. I mean, they're just busy. And nobody wants to take the time to type up a bid. I'm sorry, they just don't.
Well, is Neil's bid accurate on what we need and what we
there were
have?
Tim still had
Do
questions
you
on
still
it.
have question about Neil, or do we just need Jeremy to put everything he's gonna do to match?
The only thing that I would say at this point, from Neil's standpoint, is the equipment to get the concrete into mainly the pavilion area.
So that's not included, or it's not on there.
It's not
It's not
on
on
there, so it's a guess.
But
We don't
what
know.
about the areas to the playground that you were talking about? I mean, that's additional.
Yeah, that would be, and, you know, which they didn't know anything about that, so, I mean, that's gonna be additional, it'll be an expense just to the town. It'd be something we would ask whoever to say, if we go back and ask these guys for, you know, to update their quote, we would add that into it to say, we need 2 sections that are gonna be, whatever, 5 yards of concrete, 3 yards of concrete. So they're gonna have to form it, but we want that as a separate number on this quote, because that's not part of this project. But because ADA requires, if we're doing this in the park, anywhere we're putting this sidewalk in, we have to make a connection to the playground area from this sidewalk. So we would have 2 paths that have to be poured to make those playground areas accessible.
Isn't there a thing that it had to be over $50,000 before it required that you had to have 3 quotes?
I think your purchasing policy says three
So
quotes.
our purchasing policy says 3.
Is it solicit 3 quotes or to actually receive 3 quotes?
So if it's over 50, you have to bid. If it's under, no, if it's over 100, it's a big number for bid. If it's between 50 and that big number is a solicit quotes in writing, blah, blah, blah. If it's under 50, it's our local policy, but our local policy is they still want our guys to go get 3 quotes. So but if they only want 2 or only 2
I would be
short,
better off just giving you 1 quote. I'm not making fun, but really, I'd only be required to give 1 quote.
So,
No, we're
because
required to get it.
They need 3.
Three.
They need 3.
But if I could get 2 of those back, apples to apples, I would have a better idea that
I
we're
mean,
apples to apples.
The Winco one's pretty,
The Windows is pretty detailed, so I can still consider that one of your 3. But the other 2, I need closer to the questions answered in the quote, so we know what we're looking at.
And we need to know how much the concrete's gonna cost us for like Jeremy's, right?
Right.
We don't even
Right.
have that. No.
Right.
well, the concrete, if it is, it's about 16,000 for 65 yards. It's,
That's what the other quotes are saying.
no,
Or-
250 a yard for concrete times 65 is
Oh, that's
16,000.
But there's a difference between fiber mesh and wire.
right.
Fiber mesh.
And if Jeremy's quote, Premier's quote is, we're supplying all the material, we have to know that money that we're gonna.
He writes it as though it is, and I can tell you that it's not, but yeah.
Okay, so if he's at 18,000 and we're already at 16,000, that puts us at 34.
Right, but we still need to have that
Right.
in writing, what he is
Right.
actually quoting.
So then what I'm hearing in all this is, get this out as soon as possible. For him to get the matching grants as soon as possible, for you guys to be able to make the decision and get the check.
Yes.
So
But
as far as the money goes, I have had, when I got back and got the quotes, I called Andrea at the Community Foundation and I said, have you even released the grant agreements? Because I have not received the grant agreement that we have to sign. I received it for ours, for the town, the $2,000 that we got, but I had not received it for theirs. And Andrea said, I will look into that. Yes, you have to sign the agreement. And I said, and then will it work like it did last time, that you'll send me money as we spend the money? Because that's how it worked last time. I called her, we got a quote, you're gonna send me money, she'd send me money. And so then we talked about that, and I said, she goes, would it be easier for me to send you all the money? I go, however it works for you, I can go with it either way. And she said, well, we would prefer to send it all at once. She said, but, she goes, this is a matching grant, and we are not going to match it. We're not gonna release the grant until the match has been received at the foundation. And this was last Thursday, and she said, and as of right now, we have only received $10,000 of the $25,000. So we are not going to release it until we receive the funds. And she said she would let me know, she would give me the grant agreement and she would let me know. And I said, that is fine, let me know. That was my conversation with Andrea Bowman, the director of the Benton Community Foundation.
If you check.
I don't care how the money comes in, I would have never dictated that, because I don't care. I'll do it however they want.
Maybe what she meant. Because that's what she said. So maybe what she meant was, because last year they released money before the match was made. And maybe what they released was money that was donated. I don't know that. I know that as of today, if you asked, or yesterday, Tamara has received the funds. She's received everything but I think $2,500. And that was supposed to come in today. But I don't know if it did or not, I didn't check. But I do know that she's within $2,500 of the matching grant. So they could give 50, but
So maybe she'll get the email tomorrow that the money's in there and then.
Because
I don't think the money is the issue. My biggest concern is
but
stopping
it is
what's
an
going
issue
forward.
that we can't, by law, I can't do it without one, I don't have a grant agreement, so I have to have a grant agreement signed, and I have to have basically a release of funds from the foundation saying, we are giving you the money, you can move forward with your project. I don't care. Those are the laws I've been handed that I have to follow.
No, we haven't signed it.
So until I have that, if you approve any expenditures, and I don't have that commitment from the foundation that they're paying the bills or sending me the money to pay the bills, you've just signed contracts that we have no money to pay. So we just can't do that until I have that from the foundation.
Okay, so if you get the funds from the foundation, what is it that we need specifically so we can get the concrete estimate to you guys? Because it's not gonna happen. I'm telling you, we needed approval tonight to keep it moving, to get it done before the festival. We've been working on this, and no one had said to us,
How
we
can,
don't have that.
how can we satisfy?
Yeah, how can we,
I can find Jeremy Davis, and I can literally type up a new quote. Window is gonna be impossible.
Like I said, I can take
Well,
Winco's as
Winco-
I can take Winco's as it is.
okay,
The other
the other
two,
two you need.
I need.
So we need to be specific in what we need on
Do
those.
you need something different for Neil Gibb?
I don't think so with Neil's.
Just need to understand
The buggy.
We need to understand the buggy and the equipment, and I need it in writing.
And we needed to know what part is.
When you say equipment,
Oh, yeah, and
Because
that-
how would you get the concrete from X to?
From the truck to.
on Premier, they stated that
he was gonna
there was
drive
no
in
pump
with the
charges or
truck.
concrete buggy included.
That's what I just said a little while ago. Is that prohibited?
I don't know.
What?
So you're saying Neil's just having IMI, drive the truck right up and dump right
Yes.
there? No pump truck, no,
They're going right over where the sidewalk, the new sidewalk is.
and that'll get to all of the areas where concrete is going?
The only area it will not get to is where they put the donor building.
That's the vehicles.
Yeah, and that's right next to the parking lot now, right?
It's just right.
West of the pavilion.
Like,
South of the.
Tim, does that mean
100 feet
Tim,
there or
does that
something?
mean the concrete trucks going between our playground equipment to get back there?
They would, yes.
They would be driving through right here and going right through there, right over the sidewalk where it is. This is extremely low here. It's all gonna get built up. All of it's gonna get 6 inches of stone underneath the sidewalk. It's all gonna get
I
compacted.
think he's doing it.
We just don't have the concrete truck, right? It's $1,000 to do the other.
Tim,
And we didn't wanna pay $1,000 for a pumper truck.
what is it right now you're needing? Are you needing concrete to do the pavilion-like thing?
That's what-
You're not doing the sidewalks right now,
We're not doing
right?
the sidewalks until later.
Right,
Right now, we're just trying to get that,
okay, alright,
that's what we're trying to get done.
okay,
But it still doesn't matter, you're gonna have to have a bid for that.
right.
I don't have bids broken out separate.
So
Okay, so
this bid is just for the pad.
No, it's for all this, well, it doesn't include,
no, I think the bids right now
it
include the
doesn't include
sidewalks.
this.
It doesn't
Because
include
this was part of this.
Correct.
Originally.
So what does it include?
So when this got moved, this is more concrete, and that's why we had him do the bid in square foot fashion.
So to answer your question, it includes the concrete from the existing parking lot, the sidewalk that goes to the east in front of the pavilion, then continue east and then around to the new pavilion, and that, yes. So my question for what Tim's saying now is,
It also goes around over to the storage building. That's part of this bid too. It's 4,200 square feet, or whatever it is, I forgot the number.
Okay, so you're wrapping around the pickleball court to the shed,
To the storage, to the shed.
your concrete for the new pavilion area.
This,
The sidewalks all the way back
all the way
to the
here
parking lot.
and here, but not that.
But
I don't know the square footage, because when you change things around, it makes a difference. That's why I wanted him to do this one.
So,
you have a question, I have a question, because he just raised another question for me.
Go ahead.
So my question is, because you're saying he's going to drive the truck down this lane, which the guy doesn't want to.
No. Right through here.
Okay,
I can't see, can you show us that?
sorry. That's to go just to the north of the existing pavilion. They're gonna drive down
So
there,
between the private property and.
yes, and then they'll drive in where this sidewalk is to where the pavilion's gonna go. Okay, so my question, because he said right now, all we're gonna do is pour concrete, because Linda's question at the pavilion, that means these guys are gonna have to come back in the future,
And finish the sidewalk.
so they know that.
Yes,
So the concrete guys know that you're going to be pulled off the project for X number of days before you come back and do the sidewalk.
He doesn't have time, I don't believe, right now to do the
Yes.
sidewalk.
Okay, so should we have two quotes then? Should we be breaking it up into two quotes?
Well,
I'm just asking, I don't know if that makes sense.
I don't think we need to break it up into two quotes, but they need to know, we need to know that it's in the quote itself that says we're doing the pavilion now and the sidewalks later.
Yeah,
Because I don't want them coming back to us later saying, oh, I didn't know that it was not all being poured at the same time. We can sit here and say that they know that, but this doesn't tell us that they know
right,
that.
and it should on the
Waco's quote,
invoices.
they show section 1 is the pavilion area,
Okay,
and then they got
Whose quote is that?
Waco.
But they don't have the price broke out.
No, they just have a total price.
so they would have to invoice for by section probably, if they would want to.
Right.
But if they,
And then we should be able to pay, if we have all the funds, then we can pay that way as well,
Sure.
right?
But I would need to know that if I'm going to use the pad and like what that price is in the quote to match it up.
with
So
the
it would
Right,
need to be-
right,
Yes.
right.
To make sure I'm.
When you bid this job out here, Milestone gave you bid and said, we're gonna put in the asphalt on this day. And then you turn around and said, they want to bid, and you got a separate bid for that. You got a separate bid for the bridge. You got a separate bid for putting the post in. You got a separate bid for putting the water treatment. That's what you got from them? Everything detailed with dates.
Not by dates,
Or
but
did they say it's just X amount of dollars? and
We had a whole set of contract documents that spelled all that out, and they bid on the contract documents as one lump sum.
So it all
I didn't
broke
write
down.
it.
Itemized.
Well,
I can tell-
They were itemized before it got to the bid.
Yeah.
So then they had to plug in their numbers, they gave us an offer.
What is it I need to do? That's really all I need to know. Winco bids.
Winco, we're okay with.
Winco, we're
Well,
We're okay.
Winco, you just have to do a phone call and tell them that they need to
Price for each.
itemize each section. So she can pay the invoice as those sections are complete.
And when you say itemize,
So like if section one costs $16,000, they need to put $16,000 there. $10,000 for the sidewalk, and then
a drawing is not an itemization.
she needs a
You need
price line item. So section one would be,
So if they're going to wait till they complete the entire project and send one bill, no problem with what they've submitted. But if they're going to be paid after they do the pavilion and until they come back and do the rest, we need to know that number, and then she's gotta make sure she's got that money from the, so say it's 14,000 or whatever it is, then they know that they can do the pavilion, submit a claim for
Is there a
$14,000.
timeline between when he starts the one thing and he finishes the other?
I believe we put it on.
They're not.
Not if they're-
saying that.
go on, wait on payment, I mean.
Yeah, as long, you'll pay in full when you'll pay when he gets that part of the project.
What is your timeline from the pavilion to the sidewalk? A month? 5
At
days?
most.
Let me put a document together. I will get on the phone with all three companies tomorrow. I know all three people personally. I have 2 of their cell phone numbers, because I will call Don Windler direct and spell this out so we can get this moving for him. And then in the meantime, if he's saying that all the money should be there, we should be getting something from the foundation saying the match is here, then you can sign the paperwork and then.
I need clarification from there that they could give donation money without having a total match, because they did that last year.
They did do that last year, and I assumed that's how it was gonna be working this year, and then I was told no, that they would rather just.
As of today, I know they're $2,500 short from making a match.
And
We have to sign the agreement and,
Because I
we
have the-
got the grant agreement.
You don't have the grant agreement yet.
And who are we getting that from? Foundation?
Independent foundation has to pay the money.
Okay, yeah, so we don't,
You can't sign it.
yeah, we don't
They
have
asked
the
me to
agreement.
sign the grant agreement.
We haven't gotten anything from the foundation to
You
sign.
haven't,
No.
because they asked me to sign.
Oh,
And you
But we
can't
still-
sign it
we
because it's
still-
ours.
I know, but you,
okay.
but they asked me to sign it.
So that's where the problem is. Tamara had the wrong person sign the agreement. The town has to sign an agreement because we're going to get money. And so Andrea is saying, I'll find out where the contract is because yes, you have to sign it. They're talking to Tamara. So, and Andrea told me last Thursday, she goes, as of right now, the money, they'd only had 10,000. She goes, "Oh, the rest of it could come in the next week, but we just have to wait till it's here." And I'm like, that's fine, whatever you all need to do.
And you don't get the agreement until they have the matching money. Is that correct?
I don't get the funds,
You
is
don't
what
get the funds.
Andrea told me. The agreement, so I thought it was odd because I was supposed to get both agreements. When I got the one for the 2,000 and I signed it and returned it, that's what prompted me to say, Andrea, where's the other agreement? And she said she had to look. I said, I'm right, is the town has to sign that. She goes, yes, the town has to sign that. And I'm like, okay, I'll follow it up. I'm trying to get the answers. I'm just waiting.
So I will work on that and I'll get back to you, to Amy, and I'll get back to Tim and Julie tomorrow, as soon as I talk to them. So we can get this tomorrow.
I'm leaving Saturday, so tomorrow's the only day I'm here.
Okay.
So if you can get back, then what are we gonna do?
We'll wait for the agreement. We've got to sign the agreement.
But we have to have a meeting to do this?
Oh, no, barring the agreement and the funds get taken care of. let's go forward. That's taken care of tomorrow, okay? And Tim gets the information to us or to us and you guys tomorrow about the concrete.
So what is the process
Where the process would be
to get the, to move?
Still have to move to accept it.
I was gonna say, that was gonna be my question.
So if you don't adjourn this meeting, you leave it open and announce publicly the date and time of the next special meeting to wrap it up. You don't have to notice it or do anything. If you announce it publicly in the meeting and you don't adjourn this meeting.
But what if we don't have everything by tomorrow night?
Well, I'm not saying do it tomorrow night, I'm
Just
saying, yeah,
whenever?
I mean, like Monday night or
But do we
Tuesday.
have to advertise that special meeting?
No,
Not if you don't-
not if
If
you
we
don't
don't
adjourn.
adjourn this meeting?
Live
we have
stream
to
has
have-
to stay on.
They don't adjourn the meeting tonight.
So
Joe
we-
is saying that they don't have to announce another meeting or anything, and they can continue this for the
So then we
special
just-
meeting.
We can stop
We
it.
can just
They
meet,
can, they can meet
text
tomorrow.
message, hey, we need to be, everybody stop it if you
But
can.
you gotta announce the date and time to avoid having to do the 48-hour public notice. You've got to announce the date and time of the next meeting publicly here, and that's.
Oh, publicly here.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
so it's
not adjourn, and not adjourn this meeting. This meeting will be continued to Monday night or Wednesday night at 7 PM.
Okay, so we can announce that it could be Thursday night at 6 o'clock?
Before we would get an approval,
Be next Thursday.
What's the question?
they wouldn't meet to approve.
I mean, will that give everybody enough time to do what
They
they,
wouldn't.
that'd be
meet
the
to
question,
approve the contract
right?
until-
Well, that's the big question. My goal is to get numbers back from them tomorrow.
My goal is to get answers
Next
about the
Thursday
grant
meeting.
tomorrow.
Well, let
The reason why is we already have them. We already have.
right, I mean, she's the one that's gotta
Tim's
sign
the
it.
one that signed it already. They asked him to sign it.
They asked me to sign.
So I guess we need to reach out to them and say, we've signed this, and apparently the town needs to sign it.
I would
came
talk
straight
to,
from Andrea, from the director. She
so
said-
I would talk to Andrea.
Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. We'll get that wrapped up tomorrow.
I mean,
And Tim gets his contract stuff wrapped up
It
tomorrow.
isn't gonna matter. He won't, if we miss it, the timeframe, it'll be shoved off clear into, please, this is,
July
it'll
16th.
be shoved off. He was gonna report next Wednesday, but I thought we'd get approval tonight. That's, my fault, so. Let me call Neil Gick and say that
Well, yeah, I mean, again, that's not even awarded to him. Right?
it's my fault. I shouldn't even give it to, it's my fault.
Let me set a date, is it possible to do it before Thursday?
Can we do anything Monday?
if we have if everything
Set it
comes
for
in,
Monday. Set it for Monday.
Set it for Monday?
Monday at 6
It's
o'clock.
that-
We can try to do that. I'm not going to be here, so.
Well, we're the ones that need to sign it though, Tim, so, you know, hopefully.
If we
can-
have everything
we
ducks
have
in a
everything
row,
ready, then
we can vote on it Monday at 6 o'clock.
But if Neil's not the one that wins it, then it's gonna get pushed out into somebody else, they have to schedule, whoever
Well,
wins.
I think
He's
he's
gonna have to
I think
reschedule.
he's gonna form some stuff tomorrow, but even if he did form it, I'll pay for it out of my pocket.
So a motion to continue
I need a
this
motion
meeting.
to continue this meeting for Monday at 6
I'll
o'clock.
make a motion to continue the meeting for Monday at 6 o'clock.
Okay. Well, I remember that. Okay. Can I go through these other things real quick? Hopefully they'll go quick.
We need to vote first, right?
Say, all in favor for Monday at 6 o'clock?
Aye.
All opposed? And who made you, Jackie?
Yeah.
And Linda?
Try to get stuff done.
And that will be if we have all the ducks in a row.
Right.
Right.
But we can come on, if we don't have it Monday, we'll convene and just say the next opportunity is Thursday at 6
That's what
o'clock.
I do.
Okay.
But I announce it publicly. And not adjourn that Monday meeting.
Okay.
And
Yep.
continue go next one.
Okay, next one.
Next one is the shade structure, from changing it from shade sail to a structure.
Mhm.
I think you've all seen the pictures.
Yes.
We were all, I'm
We're all in
okay with
agreement?
I'm pleased with it.
it. Looks, Tim, what do you-
So the thing that, when we went last Thursday, one of the big area concern that I have is the runoff of the water going into the plane. And what is our goal to alleviate that issue? Because we have the pavilion, the roof right now slopes to, the major part of the roof slopes to the west. And that runoff is all going to go, because it's right up against the fence, into the grass area of the water tower, of the water plant. How are we going to get rid of that water? My question for you, Tim, is can we reverse this roof that the majority of this water is gonna run into?
Not that design.
You put a gutter on it?
You gotta turn the truss around.
Put a gutter on it?
What, there was some drainage put in when you created the.
That's on the east side.
It's all on the east side, right up next to the.
Right.
Is the concrete sloped east enough that it's drained, so put a downspout on it? And
The west, the concrete sloping to the plant.
This concrete is also sloped.
Yeah. That used to be permeable surface, and now it's not gonna be. We have to be cognizant about what that's gonna look like.
What do we have to do to make it not upset our water tower and the stuff there? Which way does it need to go, or will gutters work, or what? It's not gonna mess up anything
Put in a
there.
French drain to tie into the existing drain tile that he already installed. And do that before.
The water comes off the roof. It's not coming off the concrete, not there, because it's undercover.
Right, but this is all.
But that goes.
Right. But all this runoff is
Stuff, it's all stone now, hard and back stuff. So it goes there now. I don't know. This water on the one side goes off into the little drainage thing.
Right.
But, I mean, you took a majority of the water that was coming off the cords going into that French drain. So the little bit that he put there, the building,
Can that also go to the French drain?
well, I mean,
I guess so.
You see, can it offset each other?
yeah, it's an offset, because I mean, you already had,
I'm
Can
fine.
I ask the question? Back in September of 2025, we've approved this. Not the structure, we approved shade sails. Water comes off the shade sails, comes off concrete. The only thing I've changed, I didn't do shade sails. and
The total surface area of impervious has not increased, right? If it was gonna run off on the shade sails, it was gonna go to the same spot. If it was gonna run off on the concrete, it's the same spot.
I mean, I didn't change it from September to now. I don't see where I have, but yeah, I have.
What I think we approved back in September was for the project to move forward. I don't think we approved anything
Design.
detailed, design, because we knew he'd have to go through the permit phase.
Amy, I'm struggling.
So am I, Tim.
I know, everybody gets it. And I've made it, and I'm not I guess I am asking for a concession here, but what I don't understand is if you submit something 8 weeks, I have sent countless emails out. I don't hear anything back. It's just like, this is, I don't know, it's just gonna happen, or it isn't gonna happen. And it's very frustrating on my end. Nobody tells me anything until I come to a meeting and they say, well, that's a problem. No, we've seen this for 8 weeks, the shade sales. Nobody said a word to me about drainage, not one. I've submitted notes to these two gentlemen. I've sent, maybe not you, this guy, there I am. And I understand he can't just answer questions, but I let them know what was going on. I let the town know what's going on. I have sent Tim Clark countless emails, or not countless, but many emails. Nobody gets back to me. And now I sit in a meeting and now we have a problem. It is extremely frustrating to me.
I'm gonna jump in, so you guys know and understand, because I understand where he's coming from, but what you have to understand is the details of what you are designing has changed numerous times over that 8-week period. So until you come to us with your final design, we're not spending our time reviewing something until we know what you're gonna build. And until last Thursday, which is when this came into play,
Mhm.
was when we finally had an opportunity to sit down and discuss what it is that you're wanting to build, that's when these questions come up.
I think I'm done. I really think the best thing for me to do, I need to step out. Because I'll probably say something I don't want to say, and it's not a good thing. This project needs to stop. And the money with whatever they have up there, we need to figure something out. Tim Kirkhoff doesn't need to be involved anymore. I mean, this is a sad situation. I think we showed a lot of promise last year. This is ridiculous. I mean, in my eyes, it's ridiculous. I made a mistake. I'll own up to it. If it costs me $10,000 or $40,000, I'll write a check and I'll be done. But I'm not going to go through this. This is crazy. 8 weeks, not a phone call back, not in the donor building. I don't like it here, so I move it. That's the change. I'm not the one that didn't dislike it. Nobody ever tells me what they want. I keep moving something until I don't like it there either. I learned that people can't tell you what they like, they can tell you what they dislike. So I just keep moving things until somebody says, I like it. Amy said, I wanted it in front, we moved it. It took one meeting to get it all done. 8 weeks to get that done? That's sad.
The 8 weeks was not just to move the hexagon
Okay.
building. The 8 weeks was a lot of process in the meantime of knowing what it was you're doing, because one of the things you have to understand is they have to go by different rules than what we have to do as contractors. Because those rules are set by the Department of
It's fine.
whoever. What we're doing is completely different.
I'm sorry. I don't want to say something.
Good night, thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
You don't need that anymore. You don't need to call it the guys anymore.
Okay.
I'll take care of it.
Okey-dokey then.
So, I understand the frustration, but again, I want you all to understand that every time he's brought something to me, it's different. And when I look at things, when he came to us with phase one, this is what he was wanting to do. Put in a shed, make the tennis courts or pickleball courts. Then it's going to phase two, and then there's a phase three. So y'all know that he was thinking about phase three to put a trail all the way around the park. We need to know what that is, so we know what the design, to make sure he's meeting the design criteria that we need, because when we're gone, somebody else is gonna have to worry about it. And if we would have known more about his design for phase two and phase one, we could have rectified some of these situations in that time, but we had no idea what he was wanting to do in phase two. We just knew there was gonna be a phase two, didn't know what that looked like. What I saw from phase two at the very beginning was a sidewalk that went from the parking space all the way to the gate for the pickleball court, and that was it. Well, then later comes in this cell thing, and later comes in all the concrete, and then later comes in this, and it just keeps, it's evolving. And again, for me to give a permit to do something, I need to know what you're building to know, can we give you a permit or not? Because that's my job. And that was brought up to him last Thursday when we had the meeting. You have to worry about where the water is going from this whole entire pad, because we don't want this dumping into the property where the water tower is. And that was brought up last Thursday.
It was.
So that was.
Last Thursday, you guys had a meeting last Thursday?
Me
Yes.
and
Okay,
Tim
what's
and
that?
Tim and Julie.
And that was brought up to them, that we have to know, which is what he said to us. And that was another design that he just brought to us was, well, I'm gonna extend that wall that's by the basketball court to the north, and we'll tie this in and take it away, but what was put into the north was not done properly, and he had to redo that anyway. So we can make that happen. Now he's saying, I didn't know I was gonna have to do this, but this is what was discussed last Thursday. So it's like, again.
Because we had a whole bunch of questions about ADA and all that with everything, and so we sat down with him, because trying to email back and forth.
We had 9 issues discussed with them last Thursday. And we covered those.
We covered
And this
those
was-
and he
well,
agreed.
and he agreed, and
And then we got to, he said, have you looked at the concrete bids? And I said, I haven't even looked at them. He handed them to us at our last meeting and I just passed them over. And we got to look at them after the meeting and nothing in those bids were identical to even judge
Right.
on.
until just now, we hear that one bid doesn't include the concrete, it just includes the labor to form
I guess
it
mix
and
and pour it.
finish it.
There's still gonna be an issue if he goes through privately, making what he's thinking jive with what the town is gonna be required to do.
Right. Well, that's the other part that was discussed was, this becomes town property, and you have to list that as an asset to the town,
'Cause now.
no matter who's paying for it.
Yeah, because even now we have to list everything on the ground as an asset.
Right. So, and that's where, I don't understand all those rules, and I know he doesn't. His mind is, I ran a business for 40 years, and if I want to do something, I go do it. Well, that's not how it works here. It's a completely different process. And I hate it, because, we would like to see this happen.
I
We
know,
just have to go through
all
the
of us
process.
would.
Right.
I mean, it's disappointing. It really is. I
But he has
mean,
to
I just
understand the
don't understand why we don't have all the information down.
Because he
And like
hasn't
you
done it.
said, he blamed himself because he didn't have all the information for it.
Right.
And it's just, what,
Well,
6
and I feel
or
like,
8 weeks?
I feel
now?
like he's
Sad.
he's probably looked to us to try to get some of this, but, we just heard it here tonight, that is, he's talking to somebody and he's signing paperwork that
Right,
he can't even sign.
right. Yeah, I know he can't do that.
So I will talk to him after we leave here tonight.
Okay.
He's gonna calm down a little bit. He walked out, there's nothing here that we can't work through.
Right,
It's just not going to meet his timeline. I think that's the biggest thing right now is
right.
they were wanting to have this done before the street festival, and it's not gonna happen.
So with that, do we still need to have our meeting on Monday night?
Well, you let us know, Tim.
I think that leave it the way it is, because again, let me talk to him tonight, and we'll work through this, and if we can get all those things, if we can answer these questions, because doing some type of a drain is not gonna be that big of a deal if they're already there doing work.
Right.
So we can come up with something,
Okay.
so
Okay,
let me work on that.
the sheer volume of water that's gonna come off of that is a lot different than what was on the sales. Right?
Yes.
And that was going in, the sales wasn't necessarily gonna go, I mean, because the sales were triangle shaped.
Well, they said that the concrete sloped towards the.
Right, you still have the same amount of concrete for the pad,
Right.
so that's gonna be the same. It's the same square footage.
Yeah, a one-story house that takes up the same footprint as a two-story house has the same amount of runoff. So it's just, if you've got a roof on top of concrete or no roof on top of concrete, still the same
Still the
amount of
same.
runoff.
And the concrete doesn't have a runoff at this point.
It does, it slopes to the,
That's what I was
To the-
trying to understand, which way it slopes.
Okay.
it slopes to.
So they just, well, can't they just slope that back to the drain they put in, or is the
It's
drain
higher,
too
the
high?
drain is higher.
So again, had we known what, if we would have had the big design of it all, we would have had the drain lower, but it's coming in pieces. And so, but back to the finance piece, because that's what I am. I just came from conference and they're changing some rules. And grants now have to be appropriated regardless,
Really?
is that's what they're gonna start doing. And so, and then donations have to be recorded differently. So I went up after the meeting and I talked to the deputy film examiner, and I said, so if you have the foundation that is collecting money from donors, and they're doing a grant, My donor money doesn't have to be appropriated, but you're now saying my grant has to be appropriated? Or since it's a matching with this, can I consider this all donor? They pulled the books out, they talked among themselves, and they came back and she goes, we're gonna let you consider this one as donor money. I'm like, thank goodness, even the grant portion. But that's what they don't understand. There's so many rules and regulations that we have to follow. It's not me. Like, I'll do whatever. But, what they did, this isn't new, because I've heard it before, is phase 2 the project. Because they said if you have a project and you're doing this piece of the project and this piece of the project and this piece of the project, these 3 pieces equal the project, and if that project goes over $50,000 or the 100, whatever the next one is, then it all has to be bid. So if he is, so how is this being
All over
viewed?
50 or all over 150?
You know, whether it's to be quoted or whether it needs to
Okay,
be
but
bid.
you gotta include all the components.
You have to include,
You can't parcel it
you
out and try
can't
to get around
parcel it
that.
out.
Yeah.
I had not thought, I mean, I've heard that, I've known that, but I wasn't thinking of the patio and sidewalk, oh, that's a project. Oh, the pavilion, that's another project. They're saying if this is phase 2, and this is what we're doing with the money, where does,
I think
I don't, that's why I'm like, I'll talk to Chad about this.
specs would help these guys, just because you probably would have started with the big picture in the first place, and you would have had apples to apples, and.
Right.
So we don't know phase 1 and phase 2.
Yeah, you would know what you're doing in phase 1, and it's gotta jive with phase 3, and the drain in phase 2, and you would have all of that without having to sit there and every project causing you to be an adjustment on something that already happened, now it's history, and you gotta react to it instead of
He doesn't understand.
incorporate it.
I don't understand.
I know. I mean, originally, it was just.
Well, it's something so simple, and people that are trying to do amazing work and do something great for the community,
Right.
but we're stuck by the rules that we're stuck by.
And he doesn't understand that.
Can we sell him part of the property? Make it private, let him just do what he wants with it,
And then donate it back.
and then donate it back? Yeah, that's a good idea.
I like it.
We'll work on it. And as soon as I know, because I'm gonna be in the vehicle for 3 hours tomorrow, that's why I was like, I'm driving to another project site. It's gonna be 3 hours, an hour and a half there, an hour and a half back. I'll be making these phone calls, so let me get what I can and see what we can do, and I'll talk to Tim and Julie also.
Well, I hate for them to think it's us just rejecting everything.
Right.
Well, part of the frustration I heard was lack of getting back to him. And I get that too, right, because if we're only meeting every 2 weeks, sometimes it's hard for us to talk and get back to him too. But maybe we need to look at, can we do better to get back to him?
But the other thing is, how quick do we have to get back to him? Because he's coming in and demanding their office daily.
Yeah, I mean,
You need to order this, you need to order this, you need to order this. We don't even have the money to order anything, but he's in their office daily, every other day, daily.
Oh, my.
so, and I guess again, that boils down to project management, right? He's trying to manage this project where, and again, they're doing great work, they're doing a lot of really good stuff, and none of us want it to stop. None of us want this to stop, right? But we're gonna have to get some sort of system in place that works. That works for the timing, again, trying to get it done before if we can do it, and we can meet, and we can do this, is what you just brought up about the whole project. Is that something we've gotta,
Like, do we have to back up now and like look at the whole thing? Because if this whole project is 50,000 or more, and I have to look at the whole project, they can now not call up the phone, we have to literally solicit through a written format. But I don't know if that's required. That's what it looks
So
like.
how much is his matching fund was? 70?
No, right now we're getting 50.
50.
We got 50 last summer.
And that was for the pickleball project.
Right.
And now we're on the
But so
pavilion
you have
project.
to combine both those, so you're
This
at
is a different
100,000.
project.
This is a different project.
This is a different project. No
Right
phase,
now,
this
just
is a different project.
Yeah, so this phase 2 is a different.
Right, we can't
So-
say phase 2 anymore.
Right, we have to.
So, if we are going to spend more than 50,000 on phase 2, is phase 2 the project, or is it considered piecemealing if we do what we were thinking we were doing?
So I think you can say it's the full if you're talking about, for Winco's quote, section 1, section 2, section 3, right, which was the pavilion first, then coming back and says, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying is phase 2.
It's not phase 2 anymore, now it's the pavilion project.
If that includes,
Phase 1,
No.
if that's the project, and the project includes the building of the pavilion, the concrete work, if all of that is going to equal 50,000 or more,
Okay,
then we have to follow the process of 50,000 or more.
That's, in my experience, when you have a master plan, or lack thereof, of what is gonna happen, and we did this, but you're not breaking it up to avoid or circumvent procurement laws, you're doing it as separate utilities of a master plan in phases. So it's okay to phase a project, and as long as you keep following whatever procurement laws you're supposed to follow for that individual project that has its own utility and its own use. And the scopes are different. You're not coding a tennis court, a basketball court, putting up fences and lights, and that's a different scope than putting in concrete and structure and other things. So I don't think, whether you want to call it phases or whatever, as long as you follow procurement for what that individual utility project, I say utility, but use, they're not the same scope. And so I don't think that there's any way you can get in trouble because you're not following a higher level procurement.
But we
If
should
you're-
probably
If you're paving
call
a
it-
road and you want to do the whole thing, and
Right.
you're just doing $50,000 at a time, so you quote to your buddy Jerry, that's a problem.
so we should probably not call it a phase 2, we should probably call it the pavilion project.
Right. Agreed.
So otherwise known as the pavilion project.
Better for now than calling it phase 2.
Dave's right, the first project was the pickleball nets, fencing. So my question is
Because
this,
they were just standing up there like, you guys cannot be piecemealing this out to stay under the bidding laws.
Yeah.
Apparently.
so what is the cost of pavilion? Because right now, we're only looking at
Concrete.
$25,000 for
I
concrete.
have no
I don't know.
idea.
You're looking at $25,000 and that may not even include concrete.
well, we're around 34, and the Winco's is 30, and if that's everything, if that's all inclusive, that's the only one we've got that's all inclusive for concrete.
And
So
what's,
then the pavilion's gotta be less than 20. Right?
and what's the hexagon building costing?
Well, that was donated.
It was
Well, that was
donated.
donated.
Okay,
And that building, the pavilion could be donated too.
And we don't have the ADA stuff yet.
and so here,
And he's doing a lot of
so
volunteers.
here is the other thing that they brought up, and I've heard this and I know this. Somebody donates a piece of land. Free to the town of Otterman. It is fair market value on my fixed assets. Somebody puts in a donor building and they're donating that 100% donation, I have to put it on my fixed asset as the value of that asset, not that it was zero to the town of Otterman. So even though that we're getting some things free, I have to have the value of what that is. So
So does that get included as an expense in this case?
It just gets included as an
Okay,
asset to our,
just not, so it's not an expense for this project?
right.
Okay.
As far as yeah, but I still have to know the value of that donor building, because that is an asset of the town, and I have to know what it is. They went as far in this training that towns like to do some of the work themselves, and then so they'll come in and they'll
Put the gravel
put the
in.
gravel down and get it all ready, and then a pavement comes in and puts the paving in. The value of that gravel and that base is still the value of the road. I have to know what that is to add to the contract amount, because that's really what the asset cost. And that's what has to go on the fixed asset budget.
So he's getting free gravel for the pavilion, for the base out there. We still have to know how much that gravel's gonna cost
Fair market value of the road.
for her to put it in our asset plan. That we don't have to do.
So does that change would that count for the $50,000 that the town is donating? See, I'm like Dave. I don't think so. I don't think that defines.
I don't think that defines the contract,
Right.
Yeah,
but it does define the value for
sure, I get that, I get that. And your insurance company would follow the same amount for replacement value of all the bits and pieces, what was donated, what was paid for, all of that's gonna be part of your insurance policy. Same concept, but in terms of bidding,
Yeah, I don't think that
I don't think you
volunteer.
include that. Yeah.
Breaking it up and phasing it all to keep you from having extra control on who gets the projects that you bid from the town. If there's a certain dollar value that has to be over 50, it's open quotes. The uniform quotes, and if it's over, I think it's 350.
I know they keep raising that, I don't know.
Then it's an advertised bid.
It's over 700 now.
Is it like Google machine brought up 150, and I know that's what.
So the two things that I guess I would say, from my perspective, to wrap this up, the first one was talking about what Craig had said, a timely fashion on something like this. Hindsight for me right now is, we shouldn't have been allowing him to design this. We should have been in that whole phase of this whole project. But he's been running with the project, which left me from the side of, when you bring me what it is you're going to build, then I can give you a permit for that project.
And we were ready for permit
And
for
we
the
were ready,
building.
right. But he and I had this conversation, a private conversation, that is, when you bring me this information, our ordinance says I have 2 weeks to review this and get back to you. Doesn't mean I'm gonna take 2 weeks, but I have up to 2 weeks to review this. So I want you all to understand that, Treva said this earlier, is the numerous times that he was coming in here, talking to the girls at the desk, and this is what he's gonna do. He comes back in 3 days later and he's changed this because it was all his timeline. I'm not gonna do this, we're gonna do this. Well, there's no need for me to be looking at what you're gonna do, because you're changing it all the time. And until you tell me this is your finalization of what you're gonna do, which is what I thought we did last Thursday, and it was discussed that, these are the things that you are required to do, and I'll hand you the permit. I don't have a problem with giving you the permit as long as you're gonna do these things. From the bid side of this, for the concrete and stuff, I know and understand the rules that you have to take a little bid. I didn't see all this stuff until afterwards, that you have an $18,000, you have $24,000, you have a $30,000.
And he's telling me the 24 was the lowest bid.
Right. So I think that if we ever run into a situation like this again, we can't let them run with the town project, because they have this pie in the sky and what they want to do. We need to reel them in and say, let's sit down and talk about this, and how can we help you through this process? You know, so I think that's the best that we can do, and I will talk to Tim about that, you know, so, and we'll go through that. And, you know, and then the other thing is, you know, just to let him know and understand is, you know, everybody that's sitting in this room right now does not want you walking out the door saying, I'm done, I'm not gonna do any of this anymore, and leave it as it is. You know, that's not what we want either, is, you know, we wanna work with you, but understand that you have to work through these processes. And we can't just go willy-nilly out there and do what we're wanting to do to build this, to give it to the town when we're all said and done. We want that, but we have to go through our process to do it.
And we have to, yeah,
Might take until September, first of
and we have to
October.
get the money in order to do that.
Right. So,
So
If you can talk to him and smooth things over a little bit.
yeah, I'll talk to him,
I know you will.
so. I think that, I mean, from that standpoint, there's nothing else we can do. The other things that he had on his list were things that we didn't have a problem with. The only other thing that I would ask at this point is, when we do give them a permit, can we get a motion to not charge for the permit, which is what we normally do for a town project? But we have to go through the proper protocol to say, if and when we do give the permit, there won't be a fee, that will, you know, negate the fee to do a town project.
Do anything with that now? No? Okay. We'll get there. We'll deal with that. All right, anything else on that topic? Okay. I believe claims is next. At 8:04 tonight. General, 23,254.78, Riverboat Fund, 3,165.55, Public Safety Fund, 1753.48, Community Center Fund, 300, Auditor Utilities, 93,952.02, CCD, 715.31, CDIT, 17,887.50, Water Operating, 4,596.87, Customer Utility Deposit Fund, 300, Wastewater Treatment Operating, 7,019.49, Stormwater Utility Operating, 1,138.39, Payroll, $14,053.38, for a grand total of $168,136.77.
I'll make a motion to approve claims.
Second.
All in favor?
Alright.
Aye. All opposed?
we forgot to put a Judd on the agenda.
I know.
We're so used to you not coming, we just forgot to put you on
He
there.
picked a good night to come to the meeting.
That's what I was thinking. I didn't see his name, but I was glad he was here.
Okay,
His name's Other.
other,
Other guy.
we'll do Dave first and then we'll stick Judd in and then we'll do.
So we've had, a review of the bids. You all have awarded the contract to FH Passion for the wastewater Okra project that involves plant upgrades and replacement equipment at the sewer plant, as well as quite a bit of sewer lining and sewer repairs along various manholes and sewer segments in the contract. So we have the agreement for your approval tonight, and it is for the base bid and alternate bid 1 and alternate bid 2. The base bid is for $796,201.
No, that's just the
That's
lump sum items. Yeah.
You want to read it, Chris?
Base bid is $1,026,000,
Yes.
and then I don't have all 1 and 2.
Alternate 1 is additional sewer lining and repairs is $138,607. And the same thing on the scope of alternate 2, and alternate 2 is the amount of $71,429.
So we're agreeing to this, we give the notice to proceed and then we give a change order?
No, we're going to approve, we're recommending you approve the contract tonight, and we have a draft of the change order. It's not signed, that we can discuss with you, and that can be approved at your meeting next Thursday, and that's when we recommend you should notice proceed.
Okay.
So, try not to get the cart in front of the horse.
Okay. just, I missed the meeting the other day, the rescheduled meeting. Brad, thank you, Brad. Brad attended said meeting in my place. So we need a motion to approve the agreement for the construction contract for FH Passion.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion for it.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay.
Did you get this one back?
No, because you just
Yeah,
can't.
I did.
Just give it to
You got enough copies, Steve?
I've got, no.
Chair.
We're gonna go big boy.
I've got plenty.
Chris came prepared.
I gotta help somehow today.
So we've had several discussions with FH Passion and we're working to value engineer several things on the contract to be able to basically afford as much sewer lining as possible and reduce more value engineer some items at the plant. Chris, do you want to talk briefly about the three main items?
Yeah, the main items we were looking at removing from the scope of the project is the screening structure enclosure. So this scope modification, basically what you're seeing here, that draft change order is removing all the associated work with that screening structure enclosure. So we're seeing a reduction in the concrete that needs to be supplied for the project, a reduction in the earthwork for that. And then that last bullet point you're seeing is the removal of the structure itself, including doors, windows, coatings, framing, insulation, metal panels, mechanical and electrical. So this was basically to put a building, a pole building around that screening structure. Now, this is the one that we've had issues with freezing in the past few years. But we know that at one point, freezing was not an issue. So to try to alleviate that, what we're gonna be working through with FH Passion and the equipment supplier, West Tech, is what winterization modes that system can use. It has one. It may be as simple as working with the operators and the manufacturer of the equipment to make sure everybody is fully trained up on how that functions, or it may be something where there's more of a smaller repair that needs done on that equipment. So during the project, we'll be working with West Tech to get that firmly scoped up and clarified so that we can make sure freezing is not an issue.
Okay.
So that would take the base bid down to $885 from the 1.026.
Okay.
And we'll have to correct the numbers on the bottom. There's somewhere there that you're actually awarded and agreeing to base bid plus all front miles too. So that number will go up, but the total will come back down and I can provide that here in a minute.
In there too, Lisa.
I got new glasses and I don't like
Did Chelsea email from Ingrid while he's doing his nails? Something about a new wall change, and did you want to change something?
There's several things.
Okay. And it might be several other for my conference. I have a page of Judd questions from conference.
Well, that,
I think it was like towards the end of last
something
week.
Joanne Brownwater.
Do I?
Joanne Brownwater from Attica, and there's a list of questions that she's anxious to discuss.
So $1,095,036. That sound right?
Sure.
No. Maybe, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
90 something.
Yeah, yes, it does, because I was thinking the whole project, not just construction. I thought it was 97.
$1,095,036.
Yeah. That's what change order one that's drafted, I believe, will take total to.
Okay. feel better than that.
Yeah, basically, we're saving 141,000 when we needed to cut 138, so we're good. That's what I'm saying.
Kind of looking at it from the other direction as far as the scope and stuff, we can still, if we're not quite there, we can still delete some of the scope from one of the bid openings and do a little less mining or manual reconstruction or repairs. There are potentially items in there that we won't need. They're in there in case we need them. And so our hope is that we underrun those line items in the bid openings and the base bid as well, as far as the sewer money goes. So going into a construction project with a lot of unknowns, you'd like to have some of that contingency. So that you can just direct a contractor on site, yeah, let's do that and repair it. But we haven't got through it, so. But we can give a better summary of what the construction number looks like, or is, and for the breakdown of where that money is going for the scope items. We should be next week.
Okay.
Because we would recommend the change order in its final form be approved and those received be approved.
Okay. So the B is tabled then? So Thursday?
Yeah.
So we'll start our budget meeting with a notice to proceed. Okay. Do you have this? But I have this. Alright, Dave, you have anything else for us?
You know,
Stack of papers to sign? Alright, Judd.
The changes to the state law, this is like more than 30,000 feet. Ingrid's working on getting the summary of that. But the things that stand out are, there's a change to the public records law and providing access, and you get to charge out-of-state people more than in-state people, and you have to prioritize in-state people's work over out-of-state people's work, and there are some additional penalties for companies that are fishing for information use on a commercial basis, which I see those requests all the time in Advocate. I mean, Advocate could have a full-time public records person, and I'm not kidding, where they want to know, every, vendor for some particular type of service and what was paid for the last 5 years. And it's just kind of like, that sure sounds like a commercial fishing expedition, but so there's some changes to that. And the big one that I noticed has to do with the building permits and what Tim does. There is in my opinion, a huge record-keeping obligation where you've got to report how many building permits and how much building stock has been added and what types. And I mean, there's a lot of record-keeping requirements all of a sudden. And you're required to file reports at certain times of the year. And if you don't, there are penalties. I'm not sure what they're doing with all that information. I think they're maybe just trying to see what, or how housing starts stunted or something because of the economy, or I guess I'd be curious if I was in Indianapolis, what commercial projects you have asking for building permits, just to see, what's our data centers coming, or, what was the permit. But anyway, you'll get more information about that. The thing that I wanted to talk about, we did these 2 new residential TIF areas in November of 2025. The Otterburn Central was the one that was on the Tippecanoe County side, and the Otterburn Darby was the one on the Benton County side. And they were residential TIF areas. And so I sent the resolutions to cause them to be established to Jennifer Weston, the auditor of Tippecanoe County. And she asked a bunch of questions first of all, and then when I started trying to get to the bottom of I didn't understand some of her terminology, and we were talking about 2 totally different things. We figured that out. And so she was fine with what we did, and then she sent me a follow-up email, and she said, the Otterburn Central, however many lots, 12 or 13 lots, that's already in a TIF district that was established in 2019. And so in 2019, everything on the Tippecanoe County side of town went into a TIF district. And so in 2025, the Central Avenue parcels are in a residential TIF district. And she wanted to know, she said it isn't clear because there are 2 TIF districts now. Are you trying to say that you amended your 2019 plan, your 2019 allocation area, so that you're gonna have a 2025 residential TIF and the 2019 TIF excluding the residential TIF area, the Central Avenue area, which is what we want. Because it resets the time that you have on residential development in the residential TIF. I think it's 25 years, but it's either 20 or 25 years, but that clock started in 2019 on all of these properties. So of the 20-year or 25-year term, that's ticking away. And we're getting development now in that central, Otterton Central Residential Economic Development area. And so we didn't, it starts the clock just for the Central Avenue, again, as of 2025. So she asked if that was your intent. And so I talked to Tom Pittman about it and suggested that we pass a resolution so that somebody in the future in Jennifer's place doesn't decide, hey, that's inconsistent. And nobody said what their intent was. And so we're gonna do whatever benefits Tippecanoe County the best. And so that's what this resolution is. And it looks like a lot. All that says in this resolution that you got a copy of. The first 3 whereases say in 2019, the RDC passed a declaratory resolution saying this whole side of town is going to be our TIF area. And paragraph 2 says that the Audubon Town Council approved that, and paragraph 3 says the RDC then confirmed that that is in fact going to be the TIF district. That's how you pass a TIF district. So those 3 paragraphs say we pass these ordinances and resolutions and establish that. Paragraphs 4, 5, and 6 say exactly the same thing about the 2025 TIF district. And then the last whereas paragraph says it's the intent of the Audubon Town Council and the RDC that the Audubon Central Residential Economic Development Area is a separate residential TIF district. And by its adoption, the 2019 Audubon Economic Development Area would be amended to exclude those lots. That's the intent. And so now therefore, and then I just restated exactly the same thing that was in that last whereas paragraph. It's your intent to create a separate residential, because, and this is an important thing too, residential would not be TIFable in a TIF district, in a standard TIF district. In a residential TIF district where there's been a determination that's residentially distressed area, which yours does, it is TIFable. And so that's another reason why you're gonna lose all of the benefit. If you don't say that the 2019 area was amended, you're gonna lose all whatever value the construction of that is gonna be, because it's not gonna count under the 2019 TIF district. It doesn't count toward residential. The 2025 does. So that's what we're trying to do here. So that was what I thought. We wanted residential TIF because they were going to develop it, and you got you set up nicely the means to make that happen with your developer. Same with Benton, but Benton isn't involved in this because this is all just the Tippecanoe County side of the town. You used to have 2 districts on the Tippecanoe County side that refer to the same lots. One's residential in nature and one is general in nature, and it matters. So we're going to just say, by passing the most recent one, we intended to modify what the 2019 TIF district looks like. That's all that says. And I'm going to record that in Tippecanoe County so that won't come up with the reading.
Okay. So I need a motion for ordinance 2026-0716.
I'll make a motion for ordinance number 2026-0716.
Can we make an A on that?
A.
Just checking.
Yeah. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Can I get one copy so I can record it? I'm gonna record the resolutions from 2025 as well that show the Central Avenue district. Because in Tippecanoe County, they record those. And Tom Pittman said you don't need to record them, and he never has. But I asked Jennifer Weston if that's what she's used to seeing from other people. That's the Central Avenue one you're familiar with from last year. That's what they did, and so I'm gonna do what they did. So it looks like every other one that went through. I'm gonna record those 3 resolutions from 2025 and this one. All one after the other, so people can see what we were doing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that all for you?
That is all for me.
All right. Damn.
I don't have anything.
Your brain is fried.
I'm just gonna run through mine really quick, so, finalizing the right-of-way easement, because I got all that documentation from Benton County and Tippecanoe County, and we're trying to put a map together, and I wanna sit down with Dave and Chris on this too, putting a map together to show where our easements are, where our right-of-ways are. So you guys have a map to show where all that is. That's gonna include the alleys throughout the whole entire town. So, that'll be, once I get that finalized, we'll take it to APC to get approved, to be able to bring back to you to say, this is everything that we have. You know, it's been a long process to get to this, because you sit down and you look at all the plots and trying to figure out exactly where everything is, to make sure that we're gonna be accurate on our readings. I did talk to Ron a little bit when he was still here, before the meeting started, that we need to have our APC and BZA meeting. There's just a couple issues that need to be resolved, and then this is one of them that we want them to pass this once they see it, you know, so we can bring it to you. So, permits, so far, that actually number jumped up today. We got another one today, so we're up to 40 permits, at over $6,400. Obviously, so you guys know, we do, every month we send a copy of all the permits that we've issued to both Benton County and Tippecanoe County, so they know, and they're up to date with, mainly with the new construction and renovation or additions on houses, on what's going on, so they can bill, they can add that to the tax base. I meet with Amy and Amy both, at Benton County and Tippecanoe County, to get them that information. We kind of went over the ADA stuff, which is really at the park. That was what that was. You know, everything else, what we've done ADA wise, we're up to par where we're supposed to be, but making sure that we were following the protocol at the park. Other business, Mainstream, that you see on the back of the paper that I just gave you, I'll jump down to the claims report. They have a process that if somebody has an issue with something that was done on the property, this is the process that they're supposed to follow. They are supposed to be getting this out to all homeowners. This is not for us to do for them, this is for them to do.
But it's good that we have something that says, this is where you need to go.
Correct. So,
So what is their deadline? Because I thought they were supposed to have the letters out by July 15th.
they asked if we would move it to July 30th, so they were all done. So if they don't, as they know, the 12 people that are getting on the telephone from Mainstream when we've talked, that if we don't have it by 4 o'clock on the 30th, that we will stop work orders. That they can't come into town, because they've been in town hooking people up. So.
We'll have everybody done by then.
Because I was supposed to have already, the letter was already supposed to be out.
So did they come back and fix your yard?
That's part of that whole claim process.
Okay, because I'll be calling.
Yeah.
Well, you've got it, you can go ahead and call.
Yeah,
Yep.
well.
Also, Russell and I started last week going to clarifying all the boring that they did under our streets to make sure that the count is accurate for what they've paid for to this point, which I'm gonna tell you is probably pretty low, or it's lower, but what they paid for is lower than what they actually did. So we wanna finalize that so we can get them that bill out as well. So, then the last thing is the tower. Judd has been on some of those emails with Derek, working with, Zach at the county, Tiffany County, on the issue right now is the drainage ditch that goes through our property. They have a 75-foot easement on that drain to where if we put anything on the property or Verizon puts something on the property and it's in that easement, it's in the contract that it's at that individual company's expense to remove that and put it back when they're done doing the project. So that was the holdup right now on that issue is the Verizon people aren't happy with that terminology and they would like to see a change, and Zach's not gonna allow that to change. But I also feel like the 75-foot right of way, they can put what they need in outside of that, and it shouldn't affect their project anyway, so. That's, and I will be getting back to Derek tomorrow to talk to him about, he needs to give us an exact layout of what he's wanting to do, kind of go back to what Tim was doing. You need to give us an exact layout of what you're going to do on the property, so we know exactly where it's gonna lay. And then if we have to move that to the north a little bit, because he was trying to do everything south of the tree line, but our property goes north of the tree line, which is like another 20 feet, because when you measure it from the top of the bank to our property line is like 121 feet. So if they've got 75 feet, we still got, to me, we still have plenty of room for them to do what they want to do, put their fence up and not be in the right of way, so, or in that easement.
Okay. All right, Ms. Treva.
You ready for me?
I hope to God.
So, let's see, Russell took care of his two quotes.
Yeah.
Okay, resolution is actually an ordinance. Creating some required funds. There's 3 that we had to create. 2 is coming from, this bond, this 2026 wastewater bond. The first one, we could have intermingled our bond and interest account, our transfers into our bond and interest account to pay the bond. We could have commingled that with the current bond, which is really 2 bonds in that one. But I asked the soon-to-be clerk treasurer what her preference was, what she felt was the easier for her to track. She wants it separate, so we're creating one to make that separate. And so that'll be Fund 6207. Because it's the Indiana Bond Bank, they do request that the debt reserve be set separate from the other debt reserve. So we have to set up our debt reserve fund specifically for this, and that will be Fund 6208. And then we got it didn't have to happen right this second, but while I was doing an ordinance, I was throwing it on there. We got a state examiner directive having to do with these new things to do with building and construction. Building and construction related fees. After December 31st, this money has to go, any permit money has to go into a specific fund that the state is now telling us we must use, Fund 2260, called Building and Construction Related Fees Fund. And then there's, what all it can be used for and all that stuff. So, this ordinance is creating Fund 2260, 6207, 6208. And that's why we need them.
So I need a motion to do ordinance 2026-0716, is that right? E?
I'll make a motion that we pass this. Sorry.
You're good. Ordinance.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Alright.
All opposed?
And then just reminding y'all that we have, well now,
We have one Monday and now we got one Thursday. Well, now we have one Monday and we had one on Thursday.
I was reminding of our budget meeting at 6 o'clock on the 23rd.
I hate to ask, is there any other?
No motion to adjourn.
Yep, and
Do
we
need a
will
motion-
continue.
Do we need a motion to like recess? Continue to take recess or?
I wouldn't.
Then I'm just gonna say, this meeting will continue on Monday at 6 p.m.
Sure.
We can shut off.
I know that's, seems odd.
Right.
Attic was bouncing along, continuing this hearing, trying to wrap